And welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald, and this is Positive Talk Radio. Brishelle is right there. And Brishelle, we've got a guest that's going to talk about women and all the things that you guys go through, which is throughout your lives and stuff. And I would love for you to introduce her.
Of course, it'd be my honor. And Kevin, I know you're jealous. You want to be one of us sometimes. We're going to have Summer here of Just Be True, which please follow along. She is someone who genuinely understands what it can be like if you are willing to let it happen. Follow along with us at just-be-true.com. Also, she's got something she's created, Kevin, talking about a 7-step method, which you can take the quiz also, in the middle of spiritually awakening, self-discovery, and real change to reconnect with your intuition, claiming your voice, and living in full alignment with your truth. I think really all of us humans are seeking for some sort of thing like that. So stay with us, everybody, because Summer's really got some good stuff that you can run with today.
If that is what is in your heart, but you have no earthly idea how to do it, you need to be watching and listening to this show. And we'll be right back. There's a moment in every life when you decide to rise.
To stand taller than your fear.
To speak louder than your doubt.
To chase the vision that sets your soul on fire.
This is that moment. And here we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire,
and truths that set you free.
This is Positive Talk Radio with Kevin
and with Brishelle,
where hope has a voice.
And that voice is yours.
And welcome to the show, everybody. We've got a couple of really pretty girls here, and one is 27, one is a little older than that, but then we just a touch. But we're also going to talk about Brishelle and her mom, Heather, who is in the 50 what?
She is going to be 50 in about half a month.
Nice. I said her name and your jaw dropped.
No, I thought you were saying her mom's name was Heather. I was like, there's no way.
No.
Yes, I even through a lot of my life, I don't have a lot of people around that are my age. Got a lot of younger and quite a few older. And my mom has really been the only woman that I can say was a full woman in what she was willing to go through and willing to achieve, and really just in this never give up mentality. But there's been a point she's come to, and I've been involved with, hold on, am I really fully connected to even myself? And what is that like if I let it happen? So Summer, thank you so much for being here and being able to speak on this, because you had that journey too. I'm guessing.
I've had that journey like many times.
Oh, you couldn't have that many times. You're not that old, kid.
Okay, thank you. I'm 57. So.
Oh no, you don't have
She's
to.
Not a wisdom age. Give it to her. Love that. Well, thank you for being here to share your experiences and kind of maybe just teach us some things that you also learned along the way that we just don't know we can even have a part of our daily life. But first, how are you doing today? How's your little world?
I am doing amazing. Thank you first of all, thank you for the lovely introduction and for being here. I'm just truly blessed, and I'm excited to be a part of your show today. Today I'm amazing. I can't complain.
Good.
Well, no point in complaining because nobody's going to listen anyway. You know what I mean?
So, no, but I'm doing really great. I'm glad to be here. Really excited, as you mentioned, Brishelle, that, I've just introduced the 7-step method for Just Be True. And it's all about reconnecting. Well, recognizing, reconnecting, discern, trust, choosing what you need to do, learn to embody that and live true with it all along. And it is mostly about just turning back to who we are, right? So most women, we grow up and, we're taught we have to take care of others, and we have to be the mom, we have to be, the caregiver, and as we're moms, we end up being like a whole bunch of things, right? The soccer mom, the the taxi cab, the cook, the person who cleans the home and keeps everything organized, and we kind of forget who we are. We
Mhm.
become disconnected from us, because we're so busy taking care of other people and making sure that everyone else is taken care of. We kind of sometimes forget about us. And that's, once we become the empty nesters, or once we change careers and we don't have those titles anymore, it's like, well, who am I?
Mhm.
Who am I if I'm not the mom driving my kids around and helping them with everything they're doing? Who am I if I don't have this career to lean back on and say this is what I am? Because all those things is what you are the roles that you play. But returning to who we are, that's where it kind of gets a little messy. And sometimes it can really kind of scare us because we haven't been in that mindset since probably we were kids,
Yeah.
right?
How is it that, because you're absolutely right, women they look to take care of everybody else before they take care of themselves. And most of the time, they run out of 24 hours in a day before they can take care of themselves. So that is the one thing that they don't do. How do you help women make that, one of our favorite words is make that pivot from being that person, that caregiver, the cook and the Uber driver and all of that stuff, to being there to take care of themselves and realize that they have got a lot to give, and it's important that they view it that way. How do
A
you
lot
help
of
them?
times, a lot of times the first step is just getting them to acknowledge what they miss. Right. So what do they miss about themselves? What are some things, or even like their dreams, like what they would like to do, and being able to bring those down to them, right? Not someone else, right? Not like, oh, I want to see my kids grow up and have grandchildren. And no, that's them. What do you want to do? And breaking it down to that, because a lot of times when you ask a woman, it's like, well, what do you want to do for you? If you could do anything in this world just for you, what would that be? And I guarantee you a good bit of them are going to be like, well, I don't know. I've never thought about that.
Mhm.
Right. So just having that initial question and to think about that is a huge, to be able to acknowledge that and not have guilt wrapped around it, because sometimes we can have guilt wrapped around that answer because it's not for somebody else, it's for us.
I think that is amazing, Kevin, because a lot of times, Summer, we see that you made me think of this. Well, how bad does it have to get for you want it to change? Rather than, can you build the inspiration and the vision first before it has to get to a point to where it's like, okay, this doesn't work? Have you been able to see that that's possible along the way as well?
I mean, yeah, even for me, I've been able to see that's possible. So let's take you back to 2002. So in 2002,
I remember it well.
Yes.
I remember way too well.
No.
I was attacked at gunpoint outside of my apartment. And I ended up with a choice right then and there, right? Because when you're faced with something like that and somebody's holding a gun to your head, you have to make a decision, So I ended up fighting off the assailant. So and after a few minutes of fighting, which it wasn't an easy fight, I guarantee you that, but like he ran off, right? But then the aftermath of that was the hard part. Like physical confrontation between me and him just lasted a few moments, but the aftermath of that is what lasted for years, right down the road. But it's like I couldn't let that one point stop me from living. Right. So we've all been through traumatic events. I mean, this is just mine. Right. And so when we go through something that's jaw dropping, life stopping, it's like you have to find the courage to continue to move forward. Whether that's having, a support team around you to be able to do that, work through your own inner demons to do that. Because yes, I had a physical person against me, but it was my own inner self that was causing more of the issues than what actually happened. Because my mind started going kind of crazy around it, right? And I was like, well, what if, what if, what if? And finally I realized, I was like, well, I can't live on the what ifs because the what ifs didn't happen. I had to look at what actually did happen and be able to move forward with confidence and courage forward, from that.
For sure.
You know, Summer, we don't often get to talk to people. We don't often get to talk to people that had a gun to their head, and you know, we talk to people that have been on the red carpet and different things. What went through your mind when you were leaving your apartment, and all of a sudden, this person who is, I hope they caught him. I hope he got rehabilitated, or.
Too, but not from
That's probably what drove you crazy in your mind. You're like, I'm gonna go find him.
right. No, so actually I was sitting in my car. So this is where that
Oh.
whole intuition kicks in. And I didn't understand that it was my intuition. Okay.
Wow.
So I was sitting, I was dating someone at the time, and I had returned back home to my apartment. I was sitting in the car, and I heard this voice saying, return to where you came from. And I'm like, what? I was like, I can't go back to where I came from. They're in bed. I'm not going to do that. And they're like, you can't go in. You got to go somewhere else. And I'm like, where else am I going to go? Why can't I go? You know, like I'm having this argument back and forth with this voice that I'm hearing in my head. And so after a few minutes of arguing, I decided to compromise with the voice, which is really kind of funny that you can actually do that. But so I had a blue jean jacket on, and so I put my wallet in the inside pocket. I put my keys around each one of my key rings around each one of my fingers. I was back in time when we had to like put a key in the ignition and turn it, you know, instead of hit the button. And I had my loaf of bread because I had to make my egg sandwich the next morning. That was all that was important to me. Everything else I left in the car. And I walk up to, I'm approaching my apartment door, and somebody's standing there, and I addressed them, and they turned around, they pulled out a gun, and I literally saw like every centimeter of that gun coming out of the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh crap, right? I'm trying not to be too verbal here, but so
You're
I was
good.
just like,
That's an
okay.
oh shit moment. I think we
Right,
can all
definitely
agree.
was a moment. And I was in shooting competition. I just didn't carry, right? But I knew about guns. I'd shoot regularly. My gun was inside the apartment. But I immediately reached for my hip where my gun normally sits when I'm in competition. I'm like, oh, I don't carry one of those. And so he approached me, and he held it up to my head, and he's like, we're going to go in the apartment. And when he crossed in, well, first of all, rule number one is you never go anywhere with your assailant.
Right.
Never. Whatever they're going to do, they do it right then and there, because you lose more than 80% of your survival rate when you leave, go to another location. So the gun came down in front of me. I grabbed a hold of it. It was a revolver. When he pulled the trigger, the cylinder didn't move. So at that point, the gun was inoperable, and it disappeared from the situation. And so then we got in a fight. We got in a physical altercation. I just knew I wasn't going to go in the apartment. I really didn't know like what I was going to do. Is kind of just happened. It's not like I had a thought process of what was going on, but we ended up in a physical altercation. I ended up on the ground. He stepped on my throat. And I had this hand down around the top of my jeans, holding like the zipper and the button and everything. And my keys were also in that hand. And I could feel him trying to pull my hand away. And his foot was here. And so his toes were here. And I remember grabbing the end of his shoe and bending it upwards as hard as I could. And when I did, I got just enough to where I could turn my head, and I got air. And as soon as I got air, it's like all four limbs just started going crazy. And he left the scene after that.
Imagine, Kevin, you come at some woman who looks totally vulnerable, and you almost get your ass whooped and your gun whipped out of your hand. That's awesome, Summer. Okay. That's the positive of the story right there, is you are a fighter.
Yeah. I didn't realize how much of a fighter, but I had to remind myself of that years down the road, right? Every time I would get into a tough situation, I would be like, hey, I did that. I can do this.
For sure.
know.
Now, I assume you called the police and they went looking for him and they never found him with that. Yeah.
He
Well-
probably didn't do that again.
That's that's a really bad day right there. I got whooped by a woman and she stole my gun.
yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
But
Think about how much you learned, because maybe did you carry your gun with you other places you went after
I
that?
did for a long time. I went and got my carry permit. It was really sad. I say that because I went and got my carry permit shortly after that. And by that time, my face was that pretty bruise of the purple and the yellows and the greens. And when I showed up, the lady, she's like, well, do you mind talking to this person? This other lady came out and she pulled me back to her office and she's like, what happened? Was this a domestic abuse? And I'm like, no. And I told her and I started crying. And so she actually got me in touch with an organization called Victims of a Violent Crime. And they actually paid for it because I had to go to the hospital to make sure I didn't have any internal bleeding,
Of course.
because I did end up like with a couple of broken ribs. And so they just wanted to make sure. So actually that organization paid for all of my hospital bills because of that happened. So, I mean, that was a blessing, but yeah, I carried for many years. I don't carry every day now. I just don't feel that it's necessary.
But you also have that intuition you can listen to beforehand.
I also have that into it, yeah. And I do pay much more attention to it. I didn't know what it was back then. I was just sitting there arguing with myself. And if I had understood what it was, I'd be like, okay, we're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure.
well, but Summer, I have to ask. This is important. What happened to the loaf of bread?
I think it ended up in the bushes, and I was able to make my egg sandwich, but I don't think I did it for a couple of days later.
Well, and bless your heart.
Boy.
Yeah.
Bless your heart for making that through. And by the way, if you are somebody that thinks that that beating on a woman is the right thing to do, or stealing from somebody, go get help. You need help. You need to stop doing that, because you just need to stop doing that. So go get the help that you need. We would have far less victims if we had far less perpetrators of stupid people doing stupid things.
Yeah,
For sure.
but no, but
So-
I mean, I'm very it's like, one, I don't think the situation had to happen because my intuition was telling me no. But I am grateful for the situation, one, for how it turned out, because it turned out the best that it could given the situation. Right, because I would rather it be like that than me having to pull my own gun and fire
100%.
shots with it. So I'm definitely blessed by that. But it also gave me a level of courage that I've been able to carry forward with me. Right.
For sure.
And then I turned around and I taught women around the metro area for 2 years self-protection. So that was my way of giving back.
Yeah. Well,
In Summer, I just have to say this, because being a guy, there's certain things that I don't consider, nor have I ever. As an example, I've never parked my car underneath the street light because it's going to be dark when I come back, and I want the car to be illuminated. I've never had to put my keys in my hand before I leave the facility that I'm in, because you don't know. Every woman that I have ever met goes through these scenarios that they need to protect themselves. And that, as a guy, and okay, I'm fairly, in the day I was built and all that, and so I never considered it. But women, you have hell. Rochelle's 5'1.5", and she's 99 pounds soaking wet. So she's a little thing, but she's tough. And you're tough, but still, there are things that women have had to do that guys don't even think about. It doesn't even enter our consciousness.
and a lot of times, Kevin, even as females, it's not in you never think it's going to happen to you until that moment is happening. You don't have time to think about it. You really go into fully your instincts and hope to God they're good, right? What you know in that moment. And Kevin, it reminds me of our point to ponder the hard times, because Summer went through a hard time. And with just this one scenario, you've got a whole life that you probably went through so many hard times, but the way that you've come through it and then been able to expand on it, I think is beautiful. I'd love to show you this piece and then allow you the space to tell us a little more about you creating the Just Be True method. Kevin, can we do that?
Yes, we can. Which one did you want me to play again?
Oh, I got it. Here you go, everybody. We call this the storm. Maybe picture yourself in this situation, but remember, the storm ends and beauty comes again.
Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A sailor in a storm once battled waves so fierce they nearly sank his ship. He discovered storms, they don't last forever, but strong sailors do. Life will shake you, test you, and even try to break you. But if you hold steady and keep moving forward, the skies will clear, and when they do, you will see how powerful you have become. You are listening to Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive. I love that one, Brichelle. Good job.
No, thanks. What did you think of that, Summer? You relate at all?
Absolutely. I actually have a book. Called Embracing the Storm.
Yeah.
And it's actually shadow work. So it's embracing your storm and moving through it to find peace on the other side.
See, and that was the intuition between the two of you guys.
Yeah. So I
Nothing
love
is
that. And
coincidence.
the front of it is a sailboat. The front of it is a sailboat that actually got beached on Tabby Island.
Oh my goodness. And remind us the title of that so people can go and find it for themselves.
Embracing your inner shadow, moving through the storm and finding peace.
Beautiful. Thank you for writing that. I had no idea that was coming.
Is that on Amazon and everywhere?
I believe it is on Amazon. My publisher is Balboa Press. And so I can give you the link.
Awesome.
How long ago did you write that book?
It was published in November. And then I started writing it about a year or so before that. But then when I got laid off from my government job in April, when they did all those big government efficiency layoffs.
The Doge things?
Yes, I got doged. Literally, I sat down for like a month and finished it all out. And literally, I was up at 5 a.m. and didn't go to bed until 11. And was just on it all day for about a month to finish it up.
Wow.
Well, congratulations. At least one good thing came out of that mess.
That was like, I mean, believe it or not, it was a blessing in disguise. Like, I'm not even gonna say a blessing in disguise, because I walked out of there smiling and happy as could be. It's like, I had all my things with me. It's like, I went in that morning and I stopped at somebody's desk and I was like, how are you? They're like, oh, you haven't checked your email yet? I was like, no, I just got here. And I walked to my desk, and sure enough, the email was there saying that we had to be out by 1. And I'm like, okay. So I just started doing what I had to do. Yeah. I had to collect everybody's cell phones. I had to collect everybody's, so I was an administrative officer. I was a management officer. And so I was responsible for all of our hardware for our entire office, so for our computers and phones and things like that. So I had to go around and collect all of those things and turn them into somebody before we could actually leave. But yeah, no, I was fine.
She's all skipping out the building. She's like, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go move on and find my purpose.
Yeah.
Well, and this is, you're one of the first people that we've talked to that actually was dozed. Mm-hmm. And it's instructive for folks because, how long have you been working for the federal government at that point?
22 years.
So I want you to picture this, everybody. You're working for the federal government for 22 years, and you walk into work one day without any prior notice, warning, anything, and you get on your email and it says you got to be out by 1 o'clock. You've got 22 years of history that is at that desk and around you, that suddenly you have and you have got to be responsible for collecting the stuff from other folks
Other
and
people.
and to make sure that they're out by one, and there probably was a security person there to make sure that everybody was out by one. That's how our federal government is working. It sucks, and it's not human, and it's not 22 years, and that's the thanks you get. And even though you got a severance a little bit and all that kind of stuff, it's still hard.
There was times
So
where it was very difficult. There was times where I missed the job. There was times where I missed the title. There was times where I missed the salary. Quite often, and the security around it. But then I had to think, well, there's no security around it because I'm not there. You know,
yeah,
titles come and go. I mean, I've had many titles while I was there, so titles come and go, and it's just a title. It's just something to put behind your name. Um, and so and I still stay in touch with those that were important to me. So
Mhm.
even though I don't get to see them every day, I still talk to them on an occasional basis. Um, and I also miss the I guess the leadership that because I was in a leadership position, and I missed how people looked up to me and how they came to me for advice and
Yeah.
be their problem solver, but I get to do that now with Just Be True.
You still are doing that, and you're doing that in your own way, and you don't have to look over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Yeah, you got a solid community, and the foundation is something you built, so nobody can pull it out from under you. What
Right.
was
Yeah.
it like? What started you with the idea of even creating this? Was it after that?
No, so I Just Be True been around for a minute. I just
Okay.
wasn't fully there into it, right? Because I had a full-time job, but Just Be
Mhm.
True started. So when I started my spiritual awakening and into this intuitive life, I kept hearing over and over again, just be true. Just be true to you. Just be true to who you are. Just be true to what you are. And so that was kind of like my motivation of moving forward through, because when your whole life changes because you're going through in a spiritual awakening and a spiritual process,
Mhm.
like you kind of need a mantra to lean on, something to keep you moving forward, because it's not, I mean, spiritual awakenings are amazing. I mean, they really are, but they're also very taxing. They're very life changing, and everything is kind of flipped upside down, right? And so
Summer, talk about that with Rochelle, because that kind of is a thing for her.
Less than 48 hours ago on a live show, I said out loud, in the last few days, don't know what happened, but I went from this to this time.
yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely can happen. And the thing is, like, a spiritual awakening just is not just a one and done. It happens over and over and over and over again. And each time it takes you to a different level of whatever that is for you. And
Mhm.
each person is very uniquely and very different. But realizing that you don't have to feel like you're going crazy, right? Because you definitely can. Especially, I mean,
Mm.
Hey.
I may have asked that question.
you definitely can. I think it's important to build a community around that. So Just Be True is about building a community around growth, right? So personal growth, intuitive growth, spiritual growth, whatever that is having a community of like-minded souls and people that are going through similar situations, and have people to talk to and communicate with and grow with on all of that. And also to learn what it is to be intuitive and what that means and what you're going to experience with that. Some people are going to be able to walk into a room and feel how every single person is feeling in there, and that's a lot. And that could be very overwhelming, because you can feel angry, sad, confused, happy, all at the same time, and realizing that none of those emotions are yours.
Yep.
All of that energy belongs to everybody else in the room. And then how do you protect yourself from that? And how do you keep yourself from being overwhelmed with all those different energies that are around? Or if you're sitting here quietly and you keep hearing voices, and it's just like, well, what are these voices and where are they? Am I going crazy? Because when my spiritual awakening happened, I'm going to tell you, I was sitting I kept hearing voices in my home. And I asked and I started to explain them to my best friend, and she's like, well, you need to go see a medium. And I'm like, well, what the hell is a medium? And she's like, I grew up Southern Baptist. They didn't talk about mediums around me.
Oh no, that
Talk
was
about-
the devil.
Right? Yeah. And so I'm just like, well, what is that? She's like, don't worry, just go. And so I made my appointment. She gave me, a phone number to call. I made my appointment. And a week later, I was sitting at work. It was the day of my appointment. I was sitting at work, and I'm sitting in my cubicle. I'm holding my hair in my hands, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to be institutionalized. I'm going crazy.
Mhm.
I literally could hear voices circling my head. So, Kevin, you'll be able to remember like the Looney Tunes cartoons where a character would get bonked on the head and you would see the stars.
Oh yeah, and the little birdies and stars and all that stuff.
Yeah. So basically that's what it was like, but it was voices. And so it's probably like 3 or 4 different voices I could hear just circling my head. And I literally thought I was going to have to be institutionalized. And so that afternoon, I went to my appointment with the medium. First time I ever was there. She invited me in. I sat down, and she's like, first thing I have to tell you is you're not crazy. I sat up, and I was like, what do you mean I'm not crazy? And she explained that I could hear voices from the other side, through the other side of the veil, per se. And I was like, oh. All of a sudden, it's like a light switch flipped on, and everything from that moment, as far back as I can remember, made complete sense. So that argument I was having in the car in 2002, all of a sudden made sense.
You just gave me chills. I can feel it.
Yeah, but you can think you're going crazy, and I know some people, all of a sudden they start seeing colors, and they start seeing spots, or they start seeing things moving.
And Rochelle told me just the other day that she can see my aura.
Yeah.
I've even seen shades that I question if I've seen them before and if they exist, because am I supposed to be seeing that? Do other people see that? Is there something wrong with my eyes? Are they changing?
No, it's absolutely amazing. So I just got to share this. So 2 things I have to share around auras. The first one is my grandchildren came up to me probably about 3 months ago, and they're like, Mimi. And I'm like, what? They're like, we can see colors around people. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I love it. Right. So that's the short one. The second one is I taught an aura class probably about 3 months ago. And I had a white backdrop in the room, and I would have somebody sit in front of it. And so they would sit there, and we would find their aura, and everybody would be able to see their aura. And then I would have them talk about something that made them upset, something that stressed them out. And you could see the aura change.
Yep.
And they could see the colors change because their emotions changed. And then I would ask them to talk about something that they loved, something positive, something that kind of just sparked them. And you could see the colors change again. Yeah. And it was just amazing that everybody in the room could see this and could identify what was happening.
Now you can see energy.
Yeah.
And that's that. I was just going to mention that's what that is. That's your energy field. We are all energetic beings in a physical body, and we all have got energy coursing through us and around us. And in fact, our aura and our energy, it actually is outside of, to my understanding, is actually outside of the body. So it's got a much
really far too. If some people have it far, some people have it short.
Yep.
And the reason that it is outside of your body is that is your energy field. Like you mentioned, when you walk into a room and there are a bunch of people in there, and then you can feel their energy and stuff. And some you like, some you don't like and stuff. It's because your energy is bumping up against their energy field, and you may not be vibrating at the same energy level. Can be either higher or lower, but that they used to call that woo woo. When I started in radio in 2002, they called that woo woo. Now they call it science.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Well, and Kevin,
up with the woo woo.
I've never learned that much about auras. I just have always been able to see them. But I recently learned that, well, we know we can control our energy, but
Mhm.
in the space of your energy field and controlling how far am I letting myself be expanded? Do I
Mhm.
want to bring myself a little back in? Did you learn those things that you're able to share with other women now? Like, hey, before you go in the store, maybe
Yep.
just bring yourself back in. And if
Bring your
it's a space
energy
you
in.
want to open up,
Actually,
open yourself. Yeah.
so I have an amazing little trick for that. And
Okay.
so it's a very visual trick. So if you come to see me in person, so I use dowsing rods, and I'll have them stand on the other side of the room. And I'll say, imagine a bubble around you, and this bubble is holding your energy.
Mhm.
And I was like, now I want you to push that bubble somewhere between, them and myself. I was like, between you and I, and don't tell me where the bubble is. And so when they say, have they ready? Then I'll walk forward, and the dowsing rods are like this. When I begin walking, I'll continue walking, and they'll open up like that, and I'll stop. And I'll be like, is this where your bubble is? And they're like, oh my God, yes. Like,
Mhm.
just astonished. I was like, okay, I'm going to stand right here, but I want you to pull your bubble back. And when they pull their bubble back, the dowsing rods go back in. And so
That's
that gives
amazing.
them a visual of their own energy, right? They've done the practice. They've been able to visually see it with the dowsing rods moving for that. And so then I just, I was like, create this bubble. You can treat it like a screen door where you can still hear, sense, and everything outside, but nothing can come in it. So
Yep.
think of it like you're sitting on a screen porch, right? You can
Mhm.
still see, sense, and everything that's outside, but those nasty little bugs can't come in because they're on the other side of that screen. So this is your nice little bubble, right? And then you can make it as big or as tight as you need it.
Mhm.
If you're feeling good, your energy's high, and you see somebody else that's kind of down and needs an uplift, push it out and fill it with love and give it to them, right? But if it's overcrowded too much, pull it back in and protect your energy.
Yeah.
And Summer, speaking of energy, I had Burchelle with our little friend Lulu do an experiment. Do you want to tell me about that experiment?
Yeah, I love doing experiments on people. There's quite a few of them that you can do. I just had her stand still, and you have to have the person close their eyes, but I had her turn away from me and told her to just envision how she was feeling within herself and just to stand
Mhm.
there, having her just think of random things, right? To really let go outside of
Yeah.
her space. So she wasn't focused on me. And then I started moving my hands back and forth.
Mhm.
And like almost there was a sway, there was this lean one way. And then I decided, well, I'm going to keep this hand steady and I'm going to pull this one out.
Mhm.
And I started to see lean, and then she said, "Oh, it's because my legs aren't even." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." And so I pushed the other way. She's like, "I don't know what we're doing." And I'm like, "But do you feel it?"
That's pretty
Because
cool.
sometimes in that release,
Mhm.
I say this, and Kevin, thank you for bringing that up, because sometimes we're trying to get ourselves to move, but we're also the reason that we're stagnant. Does that make
Yes.
sense, Summer?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that a part of
And
your work?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, is that a part of your work to help people
Yes. Yes.
release?
So, yeah. Help people release. So I do that through energy work. So
Okay.
I'm actually a Reiki level 3
Love it.
practitioner. So I do energy work, and I incorporate my singing bowls and the tuning forks into that
I
energy.
love those.
Me
I
too.
love
We gotta
those.
get you some sound bowls, Kevin.
I
Yeah.
know, and
Bring it.
some drumming circle stuff.
Ooh,
Oh,
yes.
I love that. I did one last night. Oh, I love that. I want to get me a drum. I don't
We
have
gotta
one.
go to Summer's house.
Right?
Well, and some of the cool thing is that justbetrue.com, well, just-be-true.com is where you go to find out more about what she does. But you are doing all of these things, and everybody can do all of these
All of
things
the things.
if they're open to it and aware of it. Is that true?
Yeah, that is absolutely true. The thing is that like when you're doing this, so first of all, don't expect to come into the space and it be easy. Because it's not going to be easy. We have to deal with our underlying issues that we've been stuffing down for years and decades and we have to clear it out. We have to get it moving. We have to release it.
Mhm.
You know, I was brought up in a household where you didn't talk about anything that was wrong, right? If we weren't perfect, nobody talked about it, right? We had to give the vision that we were perfect, and everything was swept under the rug and just forgotten about it. But you can't live that way, because if you stuff your feelings down, if you ignore your feelings, they're going to show up somewhere in the body. They're either, I mean, lower back is definitely not being supported, right? If you
Mhm.
don't feel supported in your relationships, in your work, or wherever, you're going to have pain in that lower back, right? If you're having like vertigo and ear issues, there's unbalance in your life. Where do we need to bring balance back into our life? If you have thyroid disease or something going on with your neck, you're not speaking up, right? And you're holding things back, you're holding your tongue, you're not speaking, you're not saying what needs to be said. And so, and it's that doesn't mean like to go out and start just screaming and yelling at people.
Yeah.
But that means be able to find a safe space to have your voice, right? And being able to speak your truth and say what's on your mind. Because being in this space does not mean that everything's always positive and loving at the same time.
Yeah,
We
no.
still have emotions. We still go through crap, right? We still have to work through it. But it's just being able to acknowledge it, being able to accept it, and find good, positive methods to help you move through the transitions in life versus freaking out, being scared, and, you know, finding your little corner to stay in, because that's not living,
No.
right? And so being out and being front and moving through these things are very important. So you can live and enjoy life and become who you're supposed to be.
Well, and I heard a great saying just the other day on one of the shows, and it's and I'll clean it up a little bit, but it was, you can put a bow on a turd, but it's still a turd. So you and by the way, one of my favorite names in the entire world, Shannon is with us, Shannon Woods, and she
Hey,
just gives you a
Shannon.
heart.
Thanks
Is
for
that
being
somebody that you know?
It is, yes, thank you. Very,
Hey.
very dear close friend, yes.
Good.
What,
Glad she's here to support. She knows how good it is.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And Shannon, thank you for coming to the show. And hello.
Hello. Hi, dear.
And Shannon, if you feel like it and you want to just give us a little bit more about our friend Summer and how she's impacted you,
Yeah.
if
Oh
you
my
think about
goodness.
it.
Oh my goodness.
Just don't tell the truth though, huh? No, but thank you so much. Again, I want everybody to know you can do it too. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of the times we're here on the show, Summer, and behind the scenes, me and Kevin are just people. Where it's
Yeah.
not, oh, Kevin, Michelle, positive talk thing. We have hard times. You don't want to see me on my bad days. But we go through rough patches and we're still just human here. And people may think that, oh, you know, well, Summer, she's had some bad things and she's created this. But really, you've united so many people in this community. And that's what I was thinking about is the community at the corporation you were working with that you really got to build. And then that all disappeared, and you decided to keep it going to create something for women so that they know they're not crazy. They are not alone. It is obtainable to continue moving through these things. I really want to share more about what it was like for you then and now, to hear from your perspective of you had this idea and then it came to be, but what is it like to look at it now in its entirety for you?
That's a trick question. You know, I had somebody, so I had somebody come to my studio like a few weeks ago, and they're like, because the studio is new. The studio I got in April, but I was talking
Mhm.
about it like last year, right? Like I
Right.
need a physical space to do this, to bring people in, da, da, da. And she's like, you know, less than a year ago, you were just talking about this, you were dreaming about this, and now it's here. And in a way, I don't think it's really hit me that it's here. I think
Mm.
I'm still in that build mode, kind of per se, right? I'm still getting tons of inspiration and moving forward and wanting to do things. So it really quite hasn't sunk in that
Mm.
this is what I'm doing. right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's,
I get
it's
what you
what
mean.
Are you still in the birthing process?
I think so.
She
And I
just
may
had the
be there
baby. She doesn't know what to
right.
do with it. It's like
Like
anything.
I'm still nurturing it. I'm still loving it. I don't know. It's like it seems like it's changing constantly. So I'm actually working with Gnostic TV, and they're encouraging a lot of different things being brought into this. So I think that's the real big difference, is that Gnostic TV is behind me on a lot of things and pushing me forward through some things.
Well,
so
and so is Shannon, by the way.
yeah,
You gotta have a Shannon in your life. She said, I've had the opportunity of seeing
Yeah.
Summer at multiple phases of her journey. So proud.
yeah, she's seen the mess. Believe me, seen the total mess. But there's
Welcome
always
to humanity.
Yeah, I mean, you got to, I mean, sometimes, because, we're on shows or we teach other people or we guide people through life changes and shifts, a lot of people put us up on this pedestal, but I mean, we're human just like they are. Only
Yep.
thing is I've just gone through a journey, that now I know how to translate that journey into helping others, and I can give a foundation and I can give the support and care that's needed. It's not, I mean, but I'm still going to go through stuff.
Mhm.
Well, in summer, there's a point to ponder that we do, and we've got a bunch of them. But this is, I want you to watch this and tell us if this is kind of where you're at the moment. It's called The Seed.
Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A tiny seed was buried in the dirt, covered in darkness, forgotten by the world. But within that darkness, it grew roots, then sprouted into something beautiful. The seasons of struggle you face are not endings, they're beginnings. Trust that growth is happening, even when you cannot see it. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope live.
And we played The Storm for about part of your life, and now the seed has been planted and it's growing and it's becoming a beautiful thing. Do you agree?
I do agree. So, a matter of fact, I just told Shannon the other day. I was like, I'm planting seeds all over the place. Like I just feel like I'm just planting a shitload of seeds and just
She said, Phoenix rising. Exactly. You sprinkle them seeds. One of them's got to work.
Right. Yeah, no, they're definitely being planted out there. I do, it's interesting being a business owner, especially in this space, right? Because there's highs and there's lows, and I'm sure there is in every business highs and lows that come along with it. But being able to maintain the belief of what you're doing and that you're doing the right thing and you're doing it for a purpose and you're doing it for your purpose. Yeah.
And I got to tell you,
This is crazy.
Summer, I get messages through music.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. I will suddenly, and yesterday, and Rochelle knows, we were having a deep conversation, and I was lamenting some of the issues and some of the things that are going on. And in my world, even though it's Positive Talk Radio, it has ups and downs. It has great moments and not such great moments. And so I get into my car, and I listen to classic rock because I just do. And do you know who? Yes. Do you know who? The name just the Foo Fighters.
There you go.
Yes, I've heard of them.
And Rochelle, the song that they have is "There Goes My Hero."
Mm-hmm. That's a good song.
That was playing.
And what did that mean to you?
Yeah.
That meant to me that my guides are telling me that you are our hero and keep going.
Nice.
What
Very
more
nice.
do you need?
Right?
Nothing.
Amy?
Nothing.
You have to be able to listen, Kevin. Some of us, we don't know. We have maybe a few voices that go around in our heads, and we just think, oh, those are just all my little crazies. But Summer, how do you know the voice that is yours that is deeply rooted, that is your intuition, not just the noise?
So your intuition one's not going to be critical of you. It's going to be very loving, very passionate, and very supportive. Your intuition sometimes is the quiet voice, not the one that's screaming and yelling and being loud. Right. There are times where the intuition can get very loud, but that's probably because you've been ignoring it for some time and now you're in a crisis mode, right? And they need to be loud. But usually it's the quiet voice. So it's the voice that's like you're getting ready to walk outside and you're thinking, the little thought comes in, get your umbrella. But you're like, it's not going to rain today. It's beautiful out. And then you go out and you're out for the day and then it starts raining. You'd be like, I should have remembered to get that umbrella, right? So it's that quiet underlying voice that's usually there. That's your intuition. I have learned to kind of like start listening. Where is that information coming from? Right. So where in your thought and where in your brain is it actually generating from and coming from? The intuition normally comes. This is my right ear. So behind my right ear, that's where it normally comes from. Someone taught me years ago to kind of think about where a thought process arrives in the brain, and that'll kind of tell you if it's you or if it's your intuition, right? So I say to you, so let's sit here and let's think. If I were to tell you to imagine yourself sitting out on the front porch in a rocking chair, where does that thought process arrive in your head?
The top.
Yeah, right here, right? Yeah, mine's kind of like more like, if I could say, it'd be kind of more.
Yeah.
Right there.
Rochelle, was that a guess or did you know?
She told me to do it. I'm just listening. Like literally where this starts, maybe 3 fingers long, right? Almost to the crown, right?
Yeah.
That's where I don't know. That's where
So
the
if you're doing things
sign-
right. You're wondering like where they're, where it's coming from within the head. If you start paying attention, you're going to be able to identify what's you and what's not you. Right. And what's your intuition? My intuition always comes in back here. Now I do hear audible voices, but that's very rare. It's not every single day. Right. Like,
right.
So like, for instance, the first time I heard an audible voice, I was probably like, I was 22. And I was just devastated. And I was I usually get in the tub to like, try to feel better. And I was crying. I was in the tub. I was crying, ugly, out loud, way crying. And I heard this audible voice in the room saying, "You're going to be okay." And
That's mine.
Who was that? Where did that come from? Like it totally just like direction, right? But no, I don't hear them like all the time. So I mean, but when I do, I mean, it's something else there, right?
Yeah.
It usually gets my attention.
Not to say that schizophrenia is not a thing. People, if you're, there's a very big difference between that and the other thing. And if you are concerned about yourself, see a medical professional, of course.
Absolutely.
But also to know, in your spiritual journey, Summer, you weren't going crazy. It was you and everything else letting you know that they were there. Maybe? Is that how you took it?
Yeah, it was an epiphany. And basically what I learned is I learned to work with it, right? And I started journaling. Journaling is number one. I would recommend anybody, first place to start is journaling, right? And eventually you're going to start getting messages through that journaling, right? You're going to see what your guides have to say to you because they're going to give you messages through that journaling because you're going to journal. Then you can look back and read it and be like, well, where did that come from? I didn't say that. I didn't think that, right?
It's true. Kevin, have you journaled?
True.
I've never asked you that.
I don't know. I can't say that because I've done hypnosis and they will ask me a question and then they will do the journaling for me because I answer the question and I just am thinking one word at a time. I'm not putting any thought into it or what my intention is behind it. I just let it go. And then they read it back to me. And it's always different than I thought it was. And it was always much more profound than I thought it was because I'm calling in my spirit guides and my angels to to help me with those things. And they're always there. Sometimes, being a egotistical male, sometimes I don't listen to them all the time, but I'm trying. I'm really trying.
No,
But
that's not just a male thing. Women don't always
Yeah.
listen to them either. It's a people thing.
Yeah.
well, it's like as an example, when you leave your house and you hear a voice in the back of your head that says, "Don't forget your cell phone." At that moment, you got a choice because you don't have your cell phone on you. You have a choice. You can either ignore it
Yeah.
and continue on, or you can go get your cell phone.
That did
And
that happened to me last night, and I regretted it because I had no. Oh heaven! This show's been crazy. If you need to understand anything about intuition and how the universe works, watch the entirety of this show, people, because it happens in real time.
it does.
It does. It does.
Crazy.
It has the whole time.
And so tell us the story. As you left without your cell phone, and you said, "Oh, I'm just going to be out a minute."
Yeah,
or
no,
something.
I literally went around the corner. I was like, I don't got my phone. It's not that big of a deal. And it'd be nice to leave it behind. Like, frankly, it felt nice to me because I was like, well, being without your phone. So I get in my car and I'm driving around to the gas station, and there's problems that arise at the gas station. And I need my phone. And it was like, maybe if I would have just listened to myself, because it's not listening to something else. That is for you, in you, for a reason. It's not like, okay, start listening to everything. Listen to
To yourself.
you. Isn't
Mhm.
that what that's taught you?
It's taught, yeah, it's taught me that. It's taught me to listen to my guides. I don't always listen
Yeah.
to me because sometimes
course.
sometimes
Not too much of
my
you.
thought process can really kind of like get in the way.
Of course.
So, in regards to intuition, in regards to doing any of my work that I do, I have to get out of the way. I have to allow the intuition and the guides and the information coming from a source lead the way, because if I get in there, I'm going to mess it up.
Oh, hell yeah. I know what you mean.
I just am. It's just the reality of it. So I have to get out of the way, and and as part of the Just Be True 7-step method, a part of that is learning to recognize that and learning how you need to get out of the way and learn to trust yourself. And one of the things I feel like really needs to be said. One of the major things about trusting ourselves is learning to love ourselves, because we have to be in that space of being able to love ourselves and appreciate who and what we are. Because, there's nobody in this world, nobody in this lifetime that you're going to be with from the time you're born to the time you leave this world. You're going to be with you the entire time. Nobody else is. You might as well suck it up, man, and learn to like you and learn to love you. And if you don't like you, find out why.
Yeah.
And let's start working through that, and let's start rediscovering you.
In Summer, we just found out something just the other day. There's something called mirror therapy, and I would love to play this because you've hit on, like, we've got 20 of these things, and yeah, all of them. And so let me play this, and I'd love your opinion on the other side.
Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A woman spent years hating the reflection in her mirror. One day, she whispered, "I am enough." Day by day, her reflection became her friend. Self-love begins with the words you tell yourself. Speak gently, because you are listening. This is brought to you by Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive.
100%.
And when Rochelle and I first met, I said, what happens when you look in the mirror? And she said, "I don't like what I see." And I said, "Well, you need to fix it. You need to change that. And to love yourself and all of your grand perfections and some minor imperfections, perhaps."
Absolutely. You got to love yourself, and it's not just looking at the reflection and saying, "I love you." Try looking in your eyes and saying that you love yourself, right? Say, "I love you" when you look at yourself in the eyes. I tell people, let's start just standing in the mirror saying it. Then I want you to make eye contact, and you start saying it at that point. Right now that gets comfortable. Let's do it in your birthday suit. Get in front of a full length mirror in your birthday suit and tell yourself you love you. Tell your body you love it. All of it, not just parts of it, not just pieces of it, all of it. You'll start to see a change. A change is going to shift. You're going to shift, and you're going to have more confidence in yourself. Your standards are going to rise. You're going to be able to set boundaries like you've never been able to set them before. Your confidence is going to be out the roof. Your appearance is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you feel about yourself and the way people respond to you and react to you are going to change as well.
Man, Kevin, she really gets it. I wish we had way more time.
Well, she's got to come back, Rochelle. Summer, will you come back and talk to us more?
Yeah, we can make this every Friday. I'm just kidding.
I know, for real.
Don't test me, girl. Don't test me. I'm liable.
We'll let it happen. You just say that word, but genuinely, Summer, thank you so much for spending this time, the knowledge, the wisdom that you've obtained, and the way that you've been able to allow yourself to just be. I think that's really what we're all seeking in this world. And it's like, I just thought of this. It's in the moment where when you were attacked, it wasn't that moment that was the hardest. It's after. And I'd say the same damn thing about when you do that with yourself, because that eye contact thing, I'm just telling you, if you don't believe us, go do it. And then you will understand. And when you take a shower, I'd love to challenge people with this because I've been doing it. When you shower, thank your body, thank your hair, thank everything. And you don't have to go through every little detail of your organs and your veins. Just in total, imagine yourself just shining in a light, standing under that water and being exactly as you are and thanking yourself for just that moment. Summer, do you think that's a good practice?
Absolutely. It's that energy. That energy of love is so healing and so transformative. And when you can start giving it to yourself, it's the best gift you can give.
For sure. Kevin, would you like to take us out this time?
Nope.
Whatever. Okay, fine. Well, Kevin will do it next time. And to everyone who's listened and been here, we love you. And thank you so much for following along, showing support, and also giving it to yourself. Give yourself that pat on the back and just a little bit of grace, because going through this ain't easy. As we've mentioned, we won't lie to you. And know that in any moment, whenever you're feeling just something that you need a little bit of help with, she's created just-be-true.com, where you can go. There's a 7-step method to help women along the way. You can join a community. There's events, blog, newsletter, so many more things we have to talk about. And you can also take the quiz. Can you mention that before we leave? And Shannon said, great podcast. Cheers. Thanks for being here. We love you.
Yeah, the quiz is great. It will tell you where you are in the 7-step process, whether you're at recognize, reconnect, discern, trust, choose, embody, and live true. So take it and see what it says about you. And then when you finish it, there's a link to where you can learn more about the method and to set up a free chat to see if moving through the process is right for you. And as always, just be true to you. All else aligns.
Thanks, Summer.
Summer, I got to ask you, is Shannon in your area?
Yes.
Why don't the two of you come back and do a show together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shannon.
Okay.
She's like, what did I do?
So, and if she's still listening, so ask her if when I said that she started sweating. Because Rochelle did the first time I said, you're going to be on the radio. And she had.
I sweat for a lot of months.
We're going.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Kevin. Thank you beyond everything that is possible in this world, that you made it possible to create. Might I mention at the end of our week, Summer, I want to thank you because this was all for a reason, right? But one of the most beautiful ways we could possibly be closing out our week with everybody. And to know
Kevin, from the bottom of our hearts, how truly sincere it is to us and everybody that you allow to share their message and to come and teach and bring the community of life on earth together, creating Positive Talk when it never existed before. It still stands alone as what it is. And as we continue to grow, man, oh man, do we love you and do we thank you along the way? So I want you to take that and run with it this weekend. How you feel about that?
Nice.
Gosh, I don't know what to say.
Oh, I'm going to have to fly to Seattle and just smack him. People, I don't know what to do. But stay true to you. Remember Summer's words. Visit the website. Share it with somebody who may be in the midst of a really hard time and thinks they're alone or going crazy, because I was there. And Summer, you know, I'm going to take that quiz. And when we come next time, we can dive just a little bit deeper on each one of those placements.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys. This has been amazing.
Thank you, Summer, and thank you, Burchelle. You are something. And by the way, this is episode number 1635. So Burchelle's making me do this all the time. Anyway. Thank you, Summer. It's been great, Burchelle. Great week, and I have to say this, and this is from the bottom of my heart. Go Seahawks.
Whatever. Bye, people. We love you.
I love the eye roll of the whatever. So anyway, thank you, everybody.
Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.